Tonight,
Come on, get out.
why is Representative Louis Ford so upset?
Get out.
Well, because tonight you're going to see a delivery of liquor to his office bought and paid for by a lobbyist.
So you asked to have things delivered?
Sure.
You asked the lobbyists?
Sure.
Jamie Allman with a closer look at lobbying in the Missouri State Capitol.
They wait and wonder if their baby will get a heart.
They should land here about 3:30 and they're going to helicopter in.
Without a transplant, these babies will die. Al Wyman with the story of 3 babies battling for life at St. Louis Children's Hospital.
And he's a fighter, a joker, a hockey player who talks a good game.
Oh, you thought I was going to shoot.
Steve Savard gives you a closer look at Tony Twist, a St. Louis Blue who's cultured enough to have dinner with a player he just met.
So we're squared off, the gloves are on the ice, and I said, he says, loser buys pizza.
Good evening and welcome to this first installment of A Closer Look Primetime. I'm Julius Hunter.
And I'm Larry Connors. And this show is for and about St. Louis. It's about issues that matter to you. It's about St. Louisans you should get to know better.
We begin tonight with a story that illustrates the dire need for organ donors. In the past few weeks, 3 babies have waited for life-saving heart transplants at St. Louis Children's Hospital. And we've waited with them. Al Wyman with a closer look at medical miracles born out of tragedy.
It is the first week of January, and at Children's Hospital, 3 babies, Allison Shaw, Kirsten Horton, and Gatlin Winter, all wait for a heart transplant.
This is the first time we've ever had 3 babies here at one time, so in many ways I sort of feel like the air traffic controllers in the snowstorm. The planes are circling and we can't land anybody.
Can I talk?
To complicate matters, all 3 babies have the same blood type, type O. Each of them must have an O donor, the hardest to find. All other blood types can take any heart.
The hardest part is coming in here every day and waiting. That's the hardest part, in seeing your baby laying here, just knowing that she needs a heart.
This is day 45 of Chris Horton's bedside vigil. Only half a heart beats inside the chest of his daughter, Kirsten. No one knows how long it will keep her alive.
She's like a normal child. She'll throw a fit when we walk off. She sees us.
Is that right? Didn't want you to leave.
She don't want us to go. So we stand right here a lot.
Two floors down, Jill Horton listens to the lullabies coming from the crib of her son Gatlin. Jill knew from an ultrasound before Gatlin was even born that he would need a new heart.
My greatest fear is even when a heart does come in. I know that sounds weird, but then like right now, I know he's normal. I can still hold him. But like when a heart comes, there's an outcome. There's an outcome he might not make it.
A week later, Gatlin's health declines.
All the parents told me beforehand, you'll hit a roller coaster, and we've hit it.
A valve between the 2 chambers of his heart begins to seal shut, restricting oxygen to his fragile body. A procedure may be needed before the transplant.
And then the procedure we're going to be doing is really risky.
There is stress for the nursing staff as well. They get attached to the babies and their families.
And what is the roughest part of what you do up here?
When a baby dies.
What happens? How do you handle it?
I don't know. I just do my job, but I can really sympathize with the parents, and I know it's very hard, and it's hard for all of us here too. It's not just oh darn, a baby died.
You cry here or you cry at home?
Here.
A jet screams away from Lambert Airport with 3 doctors aboard. They will fly to Texas to retrieve a heart for Kirsten Horton. Kirsten has waited 67 days.
Just yesterday I said, good things come to those who wait, so we were being real patient.
Well, the Tin Man got his heart.
1 o'clock in the afternoon. They begin taking Kirsten to the OR. Her tiny chest will be opened and made ready for the new heart.
She's going to come back a lot sicker than she went down. And the reality is, I'm sure they're thinking the same thing. She may not come out.
They're taking off. They should land here about 3:30 and they're going to helicopter in.
Everything sort of has to happen in unison so that when the heart gets here, everything's ready to go. Because the most important thing is getting it sewn in as fast as possible.
Yay!
Okay, let's get the heart out, please.
Kirsten's new heart will be more than twice as big as her own.
Ready to go here. All right. What's the temperature, Jerry?
17. Kirsten's body is packed in ice. This slows body function. Only an hour into the operation, doctors take out Kirsten's old heart. The new heart is made ready to take its place within Kirsten's chest. It's white because it's been packed in ice.
Okay. Good.
That is a very dramatic moment because what happens is you take what's called the cross clamp off, the heart gets perfused with blood, and you see this little heart sitting there that was not beating and is cold, and all of a sudden you see it turn red as the blood goes through it and it starts to beat.
5-O-Proline.
5-O-Proline first. And the next step down the line from that is coming off the heart-lung bypass machine, because that means that the heart is not only just beating, but it's doing the work.
Is it doing what you want it to do?
Well, it's a little bit peculiar. The blood pressure is pretty high.
Pretty high?
Yeah. I don't know that we've had this sort of problem after any of our heart transplants.
Medicine is used to bring down Kirsten's blood pressure.
All right, well, that's working.
Yes.
That is working.
She's off the heart-lung machine. Her new heart beats on its own.
Incredible feeling that you get when you see this new heart pink up and start working and doing all the things it's supposed to do. So
it's a very anxious, very expectant parent.
Yeah. And she should be able to go home and grow up like a normal baby, which is what you guys have been waiting for.
That's a lot better chance than what she had.
That's right.
The next day, Allison Shaw gets a donor heart. And a week after that, Gatlin Winter receives his new heart.
A month later, all 3 babies are doing fine. And yet there is a sense of sadness on the part of the parents of all 3, because they know 3 other families are experiencing the pain of losing a child. They want to thank them, whoever they are, for donating the hearts that saved their babies' lives.
Just pray that everything worked out okay with them. Yeah, because they gave us a miracle.
95 days after she first arrived, Kirsten Horton is going home.
Hey, it's great. We're out of here. Finally.
The Horton family van is headed for home. But across the street at Jewish Hospital, an ultrasound shows Dina Pritchard that her son Derek will be born with half a heart. Another donor will be needed as soon as he is born. The wait for a heart will begin again.
It sounds too good to be true. Offers of free meals, free drinks, free tickets to sporting events, free trips across the country for golf or deep-sea fishing.
And who's receiving all of these freebies? Your Missouri state legislators. The offers are coming from paid lobbyists who seek to buy influence. And the most amazing part of all of this, it's perfectly legal. Jamie Allman takes a closer look at one lawmaker's efforts to reform lobbying laws in Missouri.
You can almost hear the winds of change whistling through the cracks of the Capitol. Lobby reform, they cry.
Not only must we be prudent with our expenditures, but we must also be mindful of our conduct.
Lobby reform, they clap. But even as they debate change, one thing remains the same. The blue liquor truck carrying lobbyist gifts gets a nod from the guard as it enters the exclusive legislator parking garage. And the dolly, carrying bottles of lobbyist cheer, gets immediate access to legislators' offices. It's all out in the open until we arrive.
Don't do it like that. Bring it back here.
It doesn't go on behind closed doors until we try to let you, the voters, watch. Lobbyist reports from the Missouri Ethics Commission show dinners out, drinks out, and free tickets to sporting events, all something that lawmakers and perhaps some of you voters may be able to defend. But when it comes to the blatant gift giving that goes on here at the state capitol, some lawmakers are absolutely tongue-tied defending that.
Like, get your out of my office. Get out of my office.
That's St. Louis Representative Louis Ford pushing our camera, then pushing our producer. On this day, Ford got $85 worth of packaged liquor delivered on behalf of a lobbyist representing a variety of interests, some of which likely could come before the committee that Ford chairs.
Representative Ford, can we tell you what how you're gonna vote on that bill to limit lobbyist gifts?
The only influence that we ought to get down here is from the people in our district.
Representative Greg Knutson knows he's out on a limb. For 3 straight years, Knutson has pushed for a ban on all lobbyist gifts.
What you want, what voters want, is simple.
It's very simple. I don't think that the voters want a watered-down version of any lobbyist reform bill. I think they want zero tolerance.
But Knutson wonders if he's an island in a sea of status quo, especially when some colleagues try to devour him in hearings on his lobby reform bill.
Is it your belief that this will totally restore the confidence in this body?
Why do you want to curtail that kind of activity?
But is it based on your constituents or is it based on media hype?
We were met with a little hostility as we normally are over this.
There are some 2,200 lobbyists working the state capitol, all representing a variety of interests.
I really take issue with the fact that you're saying that the trucking lobby somehow is controlling this body.
I must look like Andy Gump to you.
The power of lobbying is seen in this debate over a lower interstate speed limit for trucks. While he's pleading his case, Representative Gene Copeland spots a trucking lobbyist working the sidelines.
Oh, he's sticking his head on the Democrat side. Well, he's worried about his votes.
The lobbyist side wins, Copeland's side loses.
As you know, I just found out they got a lot more power than I had anyway.
But on paper, lobbyists seem to like Copeland and seem to know what he likes. Records from January alone show insurance and tobacco interests sent him almost $130 in pastries. Most legislators will tell you lobbyists are just part of the process. But while some legislators claim it's a myth that lobbyists try to buy influence with goodies,
Can you tell me who you're making deliveries to today?
delivery men bearing lobbyist gifts must have missed the memo saying this is all okay.
Can we go up there with you?
No. I said, turn that thing off.
And as much as legislators insist this is all on the up and up, this delivery to Representative Russell Goward's office was turned away. First the door closed, then the delivery man was told to beat it.
They turned it down.
Yeah.
Why'd they turn it down?
Because you guys were outside the door.
The gifts come in all forms. For instance, a ski trip that Representative May Sheevy took with her husband that was bought and paid for by a lobbyist. Even freshman lawmakers get into the gift-receiving act. In 1 month alone, Representative Dana Murray of St. Louis County received $475 in what are described as beverage and refreshments for her office. It came from one lobby group, the Firefighters Union.
Have you been working with them closely or something? Because
my husband's a fireman.
Your husband's a fireman. Okay.
But in most cases, lobbyist gifts follow legislative power. The best example? O.L. Shelton of St. Louis, veteran lawmaker with a long list of committee assignments, which means he has a lot to say about whether a bill lives or dies or ever gets to be voted on.
I serve on the Budget Committee. I serve as chairman of the municipal corporations. I'm on elections.
Aside from being tops in terms of committee assignments, he is also tops in lobbyist gifts, according to lobbyist reports. In January alone, Shelton received $881 in so-called refreshments for his office, delivered by liquor store delivery men.
What do you get? We get, believe it or not, grapefruit juice, orange juice, pink grapefruit juice,
cranberry juice.
But lobbyist reports over the past year show hundreds of dollars in Martell cognac and Absolute vodka sent to Shelton's office. First, he claims to not know what comes to his office.
I have no idea. I mean, it comes to the office, what the amount of what it is, I don't know.
Then he tells us lobbyists are at his beck and call when he wants something delivered to his office.
So you ask to have things delivered?
Sure.
You ask the lobbyists?
Sure. I mean, they don't just voluntarily bring it to anybody's office, I guess.
Why do you call a lobbyist or talk to a lobbyist? Why do you ask a lobbyist for this?
Because they can afford to pay for it.
Some say they accept lobbyist gifts as a bottom-line necessity. They point to an annual salary of only $25,000 a year.
Everybody knows what this job pays when you file for office, and if you don't like what it pays, then don't file for office.
Lawmakers also have a per diem of $35 a day and something called the 600 account. $600 a month to spend on things like office supplies and refreshments.
Then by all means you're able to take that out of your 600 account. And if it's something that's on the edge, something that perhaps the voters back home wouldn't want to spend tax dollars for you doing, then perhaps you shouldn't do it.
Admittedly, we often tell you about important legislation after it's too late. But this bill, House Bill 852, is scheduled to come up for a vote sometime later this month. You still have time to weigh in with your opinion. You need to call your legislators and tell them what you think, and maybe they'll take a closer look. I'm Jamie Allman.
Welcome back. It's a good bet he will never make an all-star team. He doesn't score much, and he certainly doesn't play with a lot of finesse. Yet still, he is one of the key players for the St. Louis Blues.
He's part fighter, part joker. His fists are flying one moment, and his one-liners are flying the next. After tonight, you might just think he's the most colorful sports personality in St. Louis. Steve Savard gives you a closer look now at the man known as the Twister.
Come on, baby!
On the ice, Tony Twist is an enforcer, 225 pounds of muscle and power. But off the ice, Tony's a pushover for his 4-year-old son, Christian.
Absolute ham. Oh, you kill me, kid.
Can you what? You want some change?
Yes, to play the game.
Okay, well, you sit here with Daddy just for a little bit. We'll do a little bit of an interview, then Daddy will give you some change. You can go play, and Daddy will finish his interview, okay?
I'll play some little games and that.
Okay. I'll give you $1 bill, and you can go get some change. How's that?
Twist is a fun-loving family man, a far cry from what opposing fans think of him. He hears them yelling at him from the stands. It gets him riled up when they call him a goon.
And I hate when somebody comes up and says, "Oh, you're just a goon." I said, "Well, no, I'm not. I'm not a goon. I bring a dimension to the game that other people can't bring. I go out, I hit, I play a hard, aggressive style of hockey. Of course, I don't put the puck in the net like Brett Hall, but the opportunities come through the work that I do with it." Okay, you want to go? Just take your middies off. You know how to put that in the machine? Sorry about that. He was sliding down the mic, and I'm sure you can hear it.
What you see is not always what you get with an NHL fight. On any given night, friends are squaring off against each other.
For example, we played Tampa Bay the other day. Rudy Postjak is from my hometown. I know him very well, a nice guy. And I said, "We got to go." He says, "Well, my thumb's bad." I said, "Okay, I'm going to pick up my glove." He says, "All right, we'll go." So we fought. And I didn't want to. I know he couldn't fight to to his fullest because he had a bad thumb. So I pulled. We got in close, and then I said, the linesman said, "Do we get in here?" I says, "Yeah, he's got a bad thumb." And Rudy says, "Thanks." And I talked to him after the game. I said, "Rudy, how's the family? We don't talk about the fight. We don't talk about anything. How's your family? How's your kids?" What's that? What do you want? Did you see that?
You're laughing at that guy.
Yeah, okay, beat it. Oh, God.
It's not unheard of for Tony to fight someone during the game and then go out to dinner with them after the game.
Sure. I mean, the best man at my wedding, Kerry Clark, Wendell's brother, we fought 5 or 6 times. And one particular instance, we were going into Peoria and Salt Lake City came in, and he was from Salt Lake, and I said, you know, we're going to go. So we're squared off, the gloves are on the ice, and I said, he says, loser buys pizza. I said, okay. We fight. After the game, we go have pizza and beer. Oh, you weigh a ton.
On this morning, the Blues have a non-mandatory practice. We put a wireless mic on him so you can listen in.
Fierzy, we're on camera today. I'm going to absolutely abuse you when I score. Oh, a little warm up, Oh! Oh, you thought I was going to shoot. Oh, I love your hair. It's all slicked back and fluffy. You look really great. You and Wayne. Oh, hammer ya! That was 2 pass. Oh, what do you count different in French? Ken Dryden would have got that.
The Twister's value to the Blues is more than just the way he keeps his teammates loose. It's more than his checking ability. It's more than his fighting ability. He's like a big brother who scares away trouble.
Quite often, Tony watches the action from right here. This is the penalty box. As the enforcer, Tony's expected to drop the gloves now and then. But that's something Tony's mom will never get used to.
You know, she'll sit by the television, grab Dad's leg. She'll phone me up after the game. Son, are you okay? I'm fine, Mom. Oh, okay. Did you hurt him? I said, well, I tried. Son, I can't believe that. I said, Mom, come on, it's part of my job.
Thanks for joining us tonight. A Closer Look Prime Time is a quarterly news magazine program. Our next Prime Time special will be in June.
Until then, watch for A Closer Look segments weeknights on News 4 at 10. I'm Julius Hunter.
And I'm Larry Connors. Good night.